technology innovations.
As we saw in our timeline, our set of technology tools has changed significantly over the last few years, but our focus remains the same as it has been for the last 145 years, and that's to provide the best learning opportunities to prepare students for their futures beyond this campus. True to the mission of St. Ignatius College Prep, our teachers are dedicated to fostering lifelong learning and a commitment to the profile of our students at graduation, or what we refer to as the grad at grad. Our 5 grad at grad characteristics for students at graduation are religious, loving, open to growth, intellectually competent, and committed to doing justice. The 2015-16 school year marks the 3rd year of our one-to-one iPad program. As St. Ignatius students, you are all held to very high standards. You are expected to exercise good judgment in all of your academic and real-world pursuits. You will make good, responsible use of the iPad and many other technology tools on campus. You are expected to be model digital citizens, ready to move on to college and all of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. In addition to our grad at grad characteristics, our iPad program incorporates several educational frameworks which are key to our grad at grad outcomes.
The Partnership for 21st Century Learning tells us that students in the United States need 21st century knowledge and skills in order to be successful. Our schools must align classroom environments with real-world environments by fusing core curricular content with the 4 C's, which stand for the skills needed for success in college, career, and life. These skills are noted on the slide behind me: critical thinking and problem solving, communication, collaboration, and creativity. As you might already notice from looking at the 4 C's, there is a strong connection between these skills and our grad at grad value of intellectual competence. Our goal with all technology is that it serves our learning community as a tool to support our academic goals and initiatives. The iPad puts a wealth of resources in our students' hands 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It extends learning opportunities beyond the walls of our buildings and accommodates various learning styles. Our iPad program represents a major step forward in allowing for the use of technology to better support the 4 C's of 21st century learning.
The iPad is certainly a powerful tool. As with all technology, the maximum benefits are achieved when it is used properly. It has the potential to transform the student learning experience. Noted educational authority Dr. Ruben Puentedora talks about using the technology in the classroom to move from learning enhancement to transformation. He developed what he calls the SAMR model: 4 steps in the process of selecting, using, and evaluating technology in education to achieve transformation. The steps of the SAMR model are listed on the slide: substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. We can understand the SAMR model by taking a look at an example. Using the Google Earth app rather than a printed atlas to locate a place mark on a map is an example of substitution, merely substituting the print for a digital format. Using the rulers function of the Google Earth app is an example of augmentation, because the technology increases functionality when we measure distances from point A to point B on a map. And further, using and creating Google Earth layers, such as using a panoramic photo layer for a 360-degree view, is an example of modification, as there is a significant task redesign and research opportunities that happen as a result of using this technology. A visual representation of a 360-degree place mark can be easily achieved with the Google Earth technology. And finally, a student can create a narrated Google Earth lit trip. It's a tour and share that tour online with one another. This is a wonderful example of transformation, the creation of a new task with this technology that could not have been accomplished previously.
These learning frameworks have been a focal point with our faculty with regard to teaching and learning. They serve as the building blocks for the work we do during your entire 4 years here at St. Ignatius. The iPad program integrates the exciting personal technology tool of the device with the best of what we already accomplish in our classrooms. There are a number of benefits to the program, some of which include equitable access to digital content and tools for all students, robust and interactive digital content, such as the textbooks, which provide cost savings and give students additional tools for learning and organization. Another practical benefit is obviously a much lighter backpack. The iPad provides a central repository for curriculum materials that students can access anytime, anywhere, and again, extending the boundaries of learning from outside this building into other parts of your world.
The program also provides powerful tools to students and teachers to create engaging and interactive learning environments. It empowers students to engage in learning activities relevant to a rapidly changing digital world, and it promotes the 21st century learning skills that Mr. Rosania spoke about. It also encourages responsible digital citizenship. As you prepare for your first year on campus, let's take a closer look at some of the key specifications of our iPad program.
So about half of the students who are with us this morning have already purchased their iPads. The rest have not. We want to share some key information with you regarding making that purchase decision. Each student must purchase or already own their own iPad. It's a personal device with many customizable options. Therefore, you've got the ability to choose the device that makes sense for you, as well as also upgrading that device in time that makes sense for you to do so.
If you already have an iPad, there's no need to purchase another one. As long as your iPad meets the minimum specifications and your student has access to the device on a daily basis. Students will use their iPads for a variety of classroom activities, including accessing their digital textbooks. As a result, they will not be able to share their iPad with their siblings or other classmates. Each student should have a dedicated iPad for his or her own use, and students should bring their iPad with them on the first day of school.
So now we'll take a look at those specifications. You're able to use an iPad 3 or newer. Okay, iPad Generation 3 came out in 2012. An iPad mini is also okay, but no other tablets are allowed. With respect to internet connectivity, you can use a Wi-Fi only model or a Wi-Fi plus cellular device. However, when you are here on campus, you must connect to the school's network for filtered internet access. So therefore, the Wi-Fi only model will work just fine. Okay, Wi-Fi plus cellular does give you internet connectivity outside the school building, which again is also fine if that's what you want to have on your device. But when you are here on campus, we want you to connect to the school's network through the Wi-Fi feature on the iPad. 32 megs or greater is the storage requirement, so a minimum of 32 megs, or 32 gigs, I'm sorry. A protective case, along with Apple Care Plus and a warranty, complete the minimum specifications. Now we'll take a closer look at the models that are available from Apple and retailers today. So when you purchase a new iPad from Apple, you'll have 4 models that will fall within these specifications or meet our minimum spec. 2 of these models are the full-size iPad, the iPad Air 2 and the iPad Air itself. And 2 are the mini iPads, the iPad 3 and Mini 2. As you can see from the slide, storage ranges from 16 gigs on the low end, all the way up to 128 gigs of storage on the high end. If you're purchasing Apple's newest devices, you will notice that a 32 gig model is only available in the iPad Air or the iPad Mini 2. If you were to purchase the iPad Air 2 or iPad Mini, you must buy at least 64 gigs or greater. Now, one of the most common questions that we receive every year is, how much storage should I have on my iPad? This is a great question. The answer does vary from student to student. Most of our students here at school have purchased at least a 32 gig iPad. And the answer to that question also depends on how much personal and academic content you want to store on your iPad at one point in time. Also, how much do you want to be involved in managing that storage? You can certainly move things out to the cloud and move them back onto the device. Photos and videos you can move on to another device at home, a computer and so forth. So some students, for example, like to keep some of their old books from year to year. So again, think about that as you make that investment. Is this something you might want to do? Give yourself a little bit of flexibility and some room for growth. On average, most textbooks take up 1 to 2 gigs of space. Science textbooks we've seen can take up 2 to 3 gigs of space. Pictures and videos consume a great deal of space on your devices. Again, you want to consider that as you're thinking about what size iPad to purchase. So if you're content managing your storage, a little bit of 32 gig model, which meets the minimum spec, is a great starter device. If you'd like to manage your storage less and store more on your iPad, you would want to consider a 64 gig or the 128 gig option. And currently 128 gigs is the maximum available today from Apple. Now let's touch base on the last two specifications, cases and warranties.
A protective case should be purchased for your iPad as it is a fragile device and could break easily. When choosing a case, we recommend a case which protects all corners of the device. There's a variety of options for you to choose from both Apple and some other third-party vendors. A few of them are shown on the slide above. They range from a simple Apple Smart case on the left to a portfolio option, which also houses any accessories you may want. Some models include keyboards, and of course, many models come in a variety of colors. When looking at cases, be sure to pick an option that suits your needs, and also be sure that the case is designed to fit the iPad that you purchase. There are some differences in iPad models and their thicknesses, and the case should fit the iPad properly. A good protective case is only part of the solution when it comes to protecting your iPad.
So the other way to make sure your iPad is protected is through warranty and insurance coverage. A warranty such as Apple Care Plus is strongly recommended so that your device can be repaired quickly and efficiently in case it is damaged. You can purchase Apple Care Plus when you purchase your iPad. You actually have about 30 days with which to make that warranty purchase. You'll want to confirm that with your retailer of choice. We found many families buying their iPads not only from Apple stores, but also from retailers like Target and Best Buy. So make sure you discuss the warranty piece at the time of purchase. Warranty coverage is typically about 2 years. Apple has just recently come out with a 3-year coverage for the iPad. In fact, it's so recent that as of yesterday, their website did not even feature the 3-year coverage. So make sure you ask about 3-year coverage when you're purchasing that iPad. That coverage includes up to 2 incidents of accidental damage if you drop and break the iPad itself. Apple will fix that for you for a $49 charge, up to 2 times during that 3-year period. You should also consult with your insurance carriers. The Apple Care does not cover theft or loss, so you want to make sure your device is covered by theft or loss according to your insurance policy.
There are other tips that we can share with you about taking care of your iPad. We have posted links to these tips on our iPad program page, but wanted to highlight a few of them for you this morning. And the first one is never put weight on the iPad. The screen is probably the most fragile piece of the device, and it can crack or break easily. And remember, secondly, to keep liquids and food and other debris away from your iPad. And don't keep food or beverages in your carrying case that holds your iPad.
Also be cautious when you are inserting cords, cables, or other components into the iPad itself, and making sure that those ports aren't damaged. When you're charging the iPad, plug in your power supply first and then connect it to the iPad. And when you're removing it, reverse that process. With regard to extending battery life, you can dim the LCD screen on the iPad and get longer use out of the device during the day. When you clean that screen, do not use paper towels or other abrasive cloths. Use an anti-static cloth or a screen cleaner designed to work with LCD screens. Finally, do not expose the device to extreme hot and cold temperatures. Extreme exposure to direct sunlight or ultraviolet light for extended periods of time will damage the device. And also, if the device is left out in the cold for quite some time, make sure you give it adequate time for that device to warm up before you power it on.
With regard to securing your iPad, be sure to set a passcode on your iPad and keep that passcode confidential. Enable the Find My iPad feature. This will help you locate, lock, or erase your iPad in the event that it is lost or misplaced. Identify your iPad. Make sure that your name and appropriate contact information is somewhere on your iPad, and that you've recorded the serial number in a safe place. SICP is not responsible for the upkeep, the repair, or the loss of any personal devices. So be sure to keep your iPad with you and in sight when you're at school, at all times, or locked in your locker if you're not using it or if you're at a sporting event.
The reality of our world today is that our 21st century learners have more resources at their fingertips at all times. And while this can and does facilitate the learning process, it also challenges our learners to stay focused on their educational tasks at hand. With the use of technology comes the expectation that our students will be responsible digital citizens. To this end, the use of all technology on campus is governed by the school's responsible use policy, or RUP. This policy is listed in the Parent and Student Handbook, and everyone should become familiar with those guidelines. Students are expected to model core Ignatian values and exercise good judgment in all that they do, including their utilization of the iPad and all forms of technology. The picture of Moses that we see on the screen here is actually one of my favorites. It was drawn by a graduating senior, Katie Avena, and it serves as a reminder to all of us that there are appropriate and inappropriate uses of the iPad on campus, as well as off campus as well. Our students are called upon to make the right choices in using technology throughout their day. So the drawing features Moses with his 21st century tablets. In his right hand, he holds the tablet that says you should take great notes with the Notability app. On the left hand, that tablet reminds us that you should not use apps like Snapchat to send pictures and messages to your classmates while you're in class. It reminds us that the use of personal electronic devices on campus is for academic purposes, and the use of technology should enhance and not disrupt the learning environment. Unauthorized use of the video and camera recording features is strictly prohibited. This includes filming and taking photos or recording of anyone without their permission and or sharing these videos and pictures. If there's something that you'd like to record in the class, make sure you ask your teacher for specific permission to do so. Students are required to connect their iPads to the school network, as we talked about, for filtered access to the internet. If you do not do that, you use a cellular service, it is a violation of the responsible use policy. With regard to other details in classroom policies, your teachers will post those on their web pages. Those policies will vary from teacher to teacher, but they will go over those with you during the first week of class. And finally, students, you are asked to make sure you bring your iPad to school on a daily basis, charged and ready for use.
As we continue to talk about the RUP with students and can make those connections to responsible digital citizenship, they share with us some of the strategies that they use to combat distractions. This slide shows some of the things that the students are doing to manage distractions, which can be as simple as turning off notifications, deleting or not installing social media or game apps at all on your iPad, and using an Apple guided access. We realize it takes some discipline on the part of students, but many are working out ways to stay on task. We will continue to share strategies with the students, and we meet with all classes in the beginning of the year during class meetings and throughout communications throughout the year. One of the various strategies that students shared that we really like is the idea that students organize their apps on their iPad in folders. So we wanted to share this example with you. On the left side of the screen, you can see that the student has grouped all of her social media, games, and entertainment apps into a special folder, one for each category. And on the right side of the screen, she has placed these folders onto the last screen of apps on her iPad so that she's less prone to see them readily when she boots up her iPad. So organizing apps and putting them way back in the distance is a great strategy that kids use.
Some parents have also asked us about the strategies and how to best address those in the home environment. So we want to offer a few of the following tips here. First and foremost, have conversations with your students about how that iPad is being used at home, what they're doing at what times. And if there's ever anything that you want to see to give a notice at a given point in time, double click the home button and you can see all the different apps that are open. Enabling restrictions on the iPad is also another way to disable certain apps and set other restrictions on the use of that device at appropriate times. The guided access strategy the students have told us they use here to limit the number of apps that can be open at any one point in time, again, can also be employed in the home environment. And finally, Common Sense Media is a group that we partnered with over the last 2 years here at school. They offer wonderful suggestions on a number of issues regarding digital citizenship and managing the use of appropriate technologies in home and on campus. That's a great resource to look into. So how many students here have come from schools where you've used an iPad in middle school? Can I just see a raise of hands? Okay, we've got a few. Of those who have used those iPads, how many have been able to take those home at night and have them with you at all times? Okay, good number. How about parents? How many of you own an iPad at home? Okay, great. We thought we'd share a few technical details about how to get your iPads connected to the school network and configure a few things. Again, these slides will be available outside the presentation. You don't have to worry about taking detailed notes at this point. We mentioned that at school you must sign on to the school network for internet access. This is a very simple process which is handled under iPad settings. It requires students to authenticate to the network with their username and password. And the username is the first part of your school email address. It's your first name, not last name. Connecting to the wireless network is typically a one-time process. The Wi-Fi settings are accessed by selecting the iPad settings button, shown on the left side of the slide here. And after tapping on the settings button, you'll simply tap on the Wi-Fi option at the top left. The Wi-Fi settings page, which is shown on the right side of the screen, will then appear, and you'll see that the TTG network, which is highlighted here in green, is the network that you should select to sign on to. Once you select the TTG network, you'll be prompted to enter that username and password. And again, that's your first name, last name, as it appears in your school email address. You should have received that information at the family meetings back in March. If you did not receive that information, we can talk about that after this session. But once you have entered that information, tap on the Join option. And after tapping Join, you'll be prompted to accept a certificate, which you'll see on the right-hand side. And shortly thereafter, accepting that certificate, you'll see that you are now connected to the TTG network here at school. Once you do this, you can bring your device on and off campus. It should automatically connect when the network is in range.
An Apple ID is your personal account for everything you do with Apple. This includes making purchases from the App Store, the iTunes Store, the iBook Store. And it also connects to iCloud, which allows you access to content through the web browser on multiple devices. A valid email address is required to set up an Apple ID. By accessing the URL on this screen above, you can create or manage your own Apple ID. We know that if you, the many iPad users in the crowd, you probably already have your Apple ID, but in case you don't, you can go to this URL here, or you can also go to the iPad program page, which Mr. Rosini had talked about, and there's a screencast there on how to create an Apple ID. We wanted to share a little bit about family sharing. This is something new with Apple, and it might be of interest to some of you. Family sharing makes it easy for up to 6 people in your family to share each other's iTunes, iBooks, and App Store purchases without sharing accounts. Pay for family purchases with the same credit card and approve kids' spending right from the parent's device. The link to family sharing information from Apple is on this slide, and it's also found on the iPad program page.
Now, how many students have used Google Apps in middle school? Show of hands. Great, okay. We've been using Google Apps here at St. Ignatius for quite some time. And for those who are not familiar with it, it's a powerful suite of online tools which help facilitate communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. It includes email, Google Drive, Google Sites, a calendar feature, and a contact feature. As a student, you'll use Google Drive for creating documents, spreadsheets, and presentations for your classes. And it provides you with unlimited online storage for all these vehicles. You can access this information from any internet connection, whether it's here on campus or your home or other locations. On the screen, you can see all the different icons for the Google Apps tools. I want to highlight email for a few minutes here. Our school policy states that all electronic communication between students and their teachers must take place through official school email accounts. Your teachers will not be using personal accounts to reach out to you, nor should you be using personal email accounts to reach out to your teachers. They will not answer those. You must use your school email accounts. And as you can see on the slide, the format for the student email accounts are first name, last name at students.ignatius.org. For faculty and staff, the format is first name, last name at ignatius.org. It's very convenient to use email on your iPad for those of you who have not had that experience as of yet. There's a simple way to configure this so you do not need to enter your credentials every time you want to check your email. You don't need to install a special app either. You can use the built-in email app that comes with your iPad, and that's the app icon that you'll see on the screen here. One important piece before you configure your email on your iPad: you must log into your email account in a web browser. If you don't do that first, you'll have an error trying to configure your email on the iPad. So make sure that you log into a web browser. The browser of choice is the Chrome browser. That works best with Google Apps. So log in there, activate your email, and then go ahead and configure the email on the iPad. And we'll take a quick look at how to configure email here.
Okay, to configure your school email account on the iPad, you'll start by tapping on the iPad settings button, which is on the left side of the screen there. Next, you will select Mail, Contacts, Calendars, and then tap on Add Account, as shown in the middle box on the screen. Next, tap the Google option for your email account type, as shown in the box on the right. You can configure multiple email accounts on your iPad. We recommend that you configure your school email account as your default account on your iPad. And as Mr. Rosini said, this will ensure that if you're communicating with teachers, you will have your school email as the default, and it won't be from another account. And so just a reminder, once again, that all school communication should be taking place with your official school email.
Another helpful option for you to set up on your iPads is the ability to access all of your documents that you store in your Google Apps accounts. Okay, this is done through the Google Drive app. This enables you to get access to all of your documents on your iPad from any internet connection that you're on. You can also create, edit, and share those documents in spreadsheets and presentations. So with Google Drive, you'll always have the latest version of that document available to you. This is a free app available through the App Store. And again, configuring this is a very simple process as well. And we do have a screencast of that configuration on our iPad program page.
There is not an official apps list for St. Ignatius. Teachers and students will have opportunities to be creative and investigate and use different apps during the course of their classwork. Some teachers may request students to purchase a particular app, but once again, there's no official list of apps that we have. At this point, I would like to introduce our Assistant Principal for Academics, Mrs. Moore Maloney. And Mrs. Maloney will share some information about our digital textbook program and your student schedules.
I'm going to switch over to the iPad here so I can show you. So in 2012, our Education Secretary Arnie Duncan and FCC Commission Chairman Julius Kronkowski challenged schools and publishers to come up with digital textbooks so that they would be available for students. They provide interactive learning, saving money, and deliver updated material to students and consumers quickly. We have worked tirelessly to provide as many digital textbooks options as possible. Our parents and students have reported that they do like the lighter backpack. And we have over 90% of our books available in digital content. I want to show you what a digital book looks like. So I have grouped my apps together, and so all my book apps are here. The book I want to show you is a world history book. Let me show you. Let me first go to my library. So I have a number of books on my bookshelf. When you buy iBooks, you'll have an iBook shelf. I have a number of books on my shelf. The World History book is a book we used before the iPad, and I'll show you in a minute. That book was $105. You'll be buying this book through iBooks for $14.95, but it's a different book. It's an interactive book. It has maps, it has pictures, it has interactive timelines and quizzes throughout the chapters, where students can, at the end of each chapter, they build on each other. So you can get quizzes on materials throughout the whole book, which will help studying for exams. The timelines are great. There's tips, main ideas, notes, all kinds of things. Videos, questions at the end. So you can buy a paper McDougall-Littell World History book, but it's not the same. So on the book list, when you get the book list, if it says iBook or digital, you need to buy that book in the format that it explains on the book list. And I will show you how that looks in a minute. But it is a cost savings. There may be bookshelves that you'll have to go to, different bookshelves, but again, I think it will be to your benefit to use different books. Besides the lighter backpack, we've seen cost savings, as I said, with the iPad and digital books. So that World History book that I showed you in a hard copy is $102. The deal Apple made with publishers is books cannot be more than $14.99. Many will be less, but the most expensive iBook will be $14.99. Your algebra book, if you're in Algebra 1 or Honors Geometry, is an iBook. It is $14.99 also. Your world religions books in hard copy are $24, $21, online a little bit cheaper. We understand that there is a cost output to buy the iPad its first year. That is a substantial cost. We hope in a couple of years the iPad pays for itself. in savings from books. So save $179 with the same books from a few of the books that freshmen use for 1 year. All right, so digital book sources. We use a number of sources. The book publishers have not quite caught up with our use of books yet. So sometimes we as a school have to purchase those textbooks for you. They're not available to consumers. They only sell to educational institutions. So in those cases, we will buy the books and we will bill you for the cost of that book. If we can get it at a discounted rate, you will get all the discounts we can get. We use Kindle, CourseSmart, Google Play, Vital Source, McGraw-Hill, Google for Schools. So these are just some of the things that you'll see when you get your personalized book list. So I work on the schedules. So all those course requests you made at your family meetings, those are coming to my desk. So we've put those all in for your students, and we are creating a course schedule for you. In July, you'll get an email with a course schedule and a personalized book list. So there isn't one bookstore you can go to buy all these books. You have to go to the individual publishers or retailers. So because that's kind of cumbersome, we have come up with this personalized book list. Based on your schedule, you'll get a list of the books that you have to buy. Each of these book lists, you'll get these in electronic format. When it's underlined, it's a hot link. All you have to do is tap on that link. It'll take you right to that website, to that page where you click and buy that book, put it in your cart, and it delivers it electronically to your device. So if you'll notice the world history, the algebra, the religion books, those will all be done through iBooks. You click on those and go to the iBook store. You can buy them in one transaction. Yet the English book is a book that we have institutionally purchased and we will send to you. You'll download that the first day of class. Now, there will be some novels for English class also. Those novels are not listed on the book list because they vary from teacher to teacher. Students have the option to read mass market books, novels, and some upper level books for classes in either paper or digital format. So you see the format column there. If it says digital or paper, you can choose the content. Students asked this. In the first year of the iPad program, we said, no, we want you to do everything digitally. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to try this. After our evaluations after the first year, students said, I'd like some choice. I have Catcher in the Rye sitting on my bookshelf at home. Why should I have to spend another $11 to buy it on the iPad? And it gives my eyes a rest. Maybe I'll try reading it in paper and see what the difference is. So we have made that change when applicable. If it says the format is an iBook or an ebook, though, that's the only format you can purchase the text in. But each of you will get an individualized book list. So we want you to use these iPads for your everything. We want the kids to watch movies and download their pictures and their apps, but we also want you to do something educational on that iPad before you hit campus on August 13th. To that end, you all have homework. You all have a summer reading assignment, which was emailed to your parents earlier this week. If parents, you did not get that, students, you can go right to Edline, scroll down to the bottom of the page, click on Summer Reading Assignments. Summer reading assignment for freshmen is reading The Alchemist. So you're to read the book, and I ask, even if you have that on your physical bookshelf at home, that you do buy that of the electronic content. Again, I'd like students to try to read a book using the iPad before they hit campus in August so they can see what it's like, all right? The Alchemist, once it's read, when you scroll down, this is the summer page. After you read the book, there is an assignment that students need to do, and you click that down at the bottom of the page, right? Your teacher will email you to let you know how that assignment is going to be turned in. Most assignments will be turned in electronically. that will be due on the first full day of school. And we keep talking about the first day of school. It's August 13th, don't get us wrong, that's orientation day. You need to be here for that. August 14th, that first full day of school, is when the summer reading assignment will be due. Okay, so that's something, if you have questions about it, you can email us and we'll get back to you. Now, we've also implemented some textbook assistance days. If you get your itemized book list and you're having trouble downloading your text, or you're nervous about doing it, you'd like someone to sit with you while you do this for the first time, we're available August 10th and 11th from 9 until 2 in room 144. You do not need to make an appointment. There'll be students, mostly students, who will be guiding you through this process. You may need a credit card if you have to buy some books. So if your student comes and is going to do that, he or she will need access to a credit card, and we can help them download all the books that they'll need for their freshman year. Okay?
Once again, we talk about all communication being done electronically here on campus through the official school email accounts that both students and faculty and staff utilize. As students, you should be checking your email on a regular basis. During the summer, we expect you to check it at least once a week, especially as schedules and other notifications about the start of the school year coming out. You want to make sure you're in tune with the latest communications. Okay? Parents will also communicate electronically. So we want to make sure that your correct email addresses are on file in the principal's office. We use Google Apps for email accounts. We use a web portal called Edline for both students and parents. Edline will host all of your teachers' web pages for each of their classes. Okay, the content varies from teacher to teacher. But this is a place that parents and students will be able to go to download your schedules, see your grades when they're posted at different times during the school year. Some teachers will post assignments on a daily basis, a weekly basis, or a Wolfpack schedule basis. You'll also get access to web links, PDFs, and other supplemental resources for each of your classes. So Edline is a very powerful portal that hosts all that information. You should have each received those credentials to activate your Edline accounts, also at those meetings in March. If you have not done so, that's a homework item for tonight. Go home and activate your Edline account. Okay, students, very important that you use your student account, and parents and guardians will be sharing a parental account. Students, your teachers will administer sometimes tests and quizzes through Edline. And if you're using a parent account, you won't be able to access those items. So you want to make sure that you're activating the designated account correctly for students and for parents. If you do have questions on that, you can certainly call our help desk. For those of you who are here on campus during the summer with summer school, you can stop by our help desk. It's open during school hours, and the help desk is located in room 145.
Okay, as Mr. Rosini has said, your teachers may use a variety of ways to deliver classroom expectations and assignments and resources. But teachers will use Edline as the primary classroom web page. So if you have a teacher that uses Google Sites, for instance, or iTunes University, or a Weebly page, they will also connect that page to their Edline page, so that Edline is like one-stop shopping. So we have a couple of slides that illustrate how that might look to you when you're looking at Edline. This is an example of a teacher who strictly uses Edline to post assignments and classroom resources. And you can see under contents, there's where the assignments are found and any classroom expectations. In this second example, this is a teacher who uses Google Sites as the classroom content delivery system. But even though the teacher is using a Google Site, the link to the Google Site is posted on the Edline homepage, okay, so that there's a point of access to that Google Site for everyone through Edline. And then the final example here is an example of a teacher who's using iTunes University to communicate any classroom materials with their students. And the iTunes U course and the link to the enrollment code for the iTunes U course is posted on their Edline page. So, some of you might be using iTunes U. There is a specific app, it's a free app that you need to download on your iPad to see any iTunes U courses. But the point being is everything is connected to the teacher's Edline page, and then we go from there.
And again, students, if you're not sure where to find something, definitely ask your teacher, especially in those first couple of weeks. Parents likewise, if there's something you're looking for in Edline for a particular class but don't see it, feel free to drop the teacher an email and ask where you might get access to that particular resource. So, lots of key dates as we look ahead here. For those of you who are taking summer school classes, not necessarily athletic camps, but those taking classes, this Friday, June 12th, is a summer school orientation. There are 2 sessions for junior high students at 9 and 2, and a 10:30 session for those taking high school courses. Summer school starts, first day is this Monday, June 15th. Then I want to tell you about these great sessions that we have for you later in July and August. There's a course called Study Skills. It's a 1-week, half-day session, Monday through Friday. It runs from about 8:30 to 11:30. It's a fantastic way to get acclimated to the St. Ignatius campus. You'll have a chance to meet with teachers from all different academic areas here, as well as work with our technology team on some nuts and bolts regarding the use of your iPad here at school. That's a great session if you can fit them in your schedules. Either of those two, they're both, content is duplicated in both sessions. Textbook assistance days that Mrs. Mullen talked about earlier on August 10th and 11th. Again, after you get that information through email, if you're having any trouble at all or trouble even connecting your iPad to the network, want to check that out here on campus, feel free to drop by on one of those 2 days. And then again, the first full day of classes we talked about here is August 14th, but for you to get that sort of advanced day on the 13th with freshman orientation. I want to talk a little bit about some Apple resources. Apple is one of the best sources for getting up to speed on the use of iPads, apps, and all things in the Apple world. They offer a number of free workshops at the Apple stores throughout the year, both during the day and on weekends. If you have not had a chance to check out one of those free workshops yet, definitely worth doing so between now and when the school year begins.
The best source for iPad support is directly from the company, and that, as Mr. Rosinia said, is the Apple portal of Pages. So we've included quite a few Apple links on our iPad program page that you might want to check out. The page also, like I mentioned before, includes some screencasts too, or how-to types of things that come up throughout the year. And we'll continue to update the iPad program page throughout the summer. We also want to make sure that you're aware as incoming freshmen that there is a student help desk, and that is in room 145. And that's been a really great resource for our students because there are students that man the help desk, and it's run by Mrs. Annie Tiller, who's with us here today. And the kids really appreciate knowing that they can go to a spot in the building and troubleshoot some things that might just come up on their particular device. So it's been really a great resource. So don't hesitate if there's anything that you need come the school year in regards to your device. Make sure you go and speak to one of the students at the help desk.
So we have a rule on campus that we implemented with our first year of the iPad program for students, which is ask 3 before you ask me. If there is a question, an issue you run into on your device, ask another student. Odds are they run into that same issue, and you'll get that fixed very quickly. If not, definitely please come down to the help desk. There are other students working there, talk to them, and if not, they'll have you see Mrs. Tiller. I want to show you a couple of these resources that we've talked about here at the school. First of all, on the school website, we have this quick links area on the home page. And you'll see that our iPad program page is accessible through quick links. Also, on the top right side, you can simply access the search box, type in a keyword, and you'll find everything associated with that, and be able to access our iPad program page through search as well. Just as Edline is a central portal for all things happening in your classrooms, the iPad program page for us is a central portal for all things associated with the iPad program here at St. Ignatius. It's a constantly evolving work in progress. We're always adding new content to that page. So, for example, later this week we will have the slides from our presentations here posted, as well as a video of today's presentation. The book list is also accessible here. The screencast page that we touched on during our presentations. This is a great area to start checking out over the summer for all things you want to do, from even installing and configuring the Google Drive app, for example. You'll find lots of great resources on this page. And a lot of these videos were created by the students at our help desk over the last couple of years. So as they get new issues floated by them at the help desk, they're looking for ways to share this information out to other students here, so you can access this from home anytime you need it. So a wonderful place to check for resources. And again, don't forget those workshops at the Apple Store. You'll see QR codes like this one in a lot of your classrooms. You'll see them on posters throughout campus. A lot of teachers will front load activities when you walk into a classroom, and they've got that on the board. We'll expect you to go out there and start working on your lesson. How many of these QR codes in middle school so far? Okay, a few of you. This will become a staple here in a lot of your coursework. This particular QR code, again, will take you out to our iPad program page. That's the formal part of our presentation. We'd like to give you some time to ask us any questions that you might have. So feel free. Yes, sir.
Keyboard versus non-keyboard.
Excellent question. Keyboard versus non-keyboard. And here's what Apple told us originally as we posed those questions to them when it came to keyboards and other accessories. Their suggestion is try the device as it is. Get a feel for how to use the device, see what you like, see where you're challenged, and then go out to stores and try different devices. If you want to look at a keyboard, run out to your store and try different types of keyboards, and also those keyboard folios where they all come combined into one, like we have with this particular keyboard device up here. About 50% of our students, we found, have purchased keyboards. So some have found it helpful, others like to use the device as it is. Great question. Yes, young man in the back. Having trouble with email? We can talk after the session here. The golden rule, make sure you've logged into a browser first to access the email. Have you done that? Okay, we'll talk afterwards. Yes, ma'am.
What about how much access do kids need to a personal computer as well?
Question is, how much access do kids need to a personal computer as well? It, again, varies from student to student. One of the things that really surprised me about iPads on campus here were, some of the kids using the iPad mini. All personal choices. We do have computer labs here at school. We also have computers available in the library. Those computers are accessible to students from when the building opens at 7:25 each morning until 3:30 after school. We always keep a lab available during free periods throughout the day, so if a student has time in their schedule and wants to jump into the lab and use a full-size computer here on campus, they're able to do that. Sure.
It's an interesting question, and we ask the students that because, again, I'm used to typing on a computer, and I like my computer. computer, but surprisingly, the kids like to type on the iPad. And most of our kids, when we surveyed them, say it's easy, it boots up quickly, they can get right in and going, and they'll do everything on their iPad, email it to themselves, then they go to the computer room, print it out, if the teacher collects it via paper, and turn it in. So for the students, the computer, the device they choose to use for all their needs is the iPad. Interesting, but again, it varies by student. You're going to see a lot of electronic turn-in, so there won't be paper, and that was an option we gave to our teachers. They post assignments. There's an app called Showbie, SHOWBIE, free app, where teachers set an assignment up, they post it, students open it up, they complete it electronically, post it back to the teacher grades it electronically, posts it back to Showbie. So it keeps everything in an electronic folder, things don't get lost, you have a graded work all throughout the semester, you can go back and look at them at the end of the year. So they use it for everything, for typing papers, for doing routine assignments. So we'll see how your student uses that. Mm-hmm.
So coming back to keyboard and to this question of the mini versus the regular size, it seems to me that one argument against using the mini would be if kids tend to use this as a sort of a screen and to type papers and things. Do you find that do they do that with the mini, or is it too small? Or is it just personal?
The question is mini versus a regular iPad for typing then with the keyboard. I am surprised by how many kids love their minis and type on the screen because they like it because it's mini. So they don't want a big thick keyboard in a keyboard case with a mini. They bought it because it was small and they could throw it in a bag or put it in their pocket, some of them, and that's how they use it. And I've seen some really big kids typing on their mini and they're happy with doing that. Again, it's a personal